I always got to work my way up to it.
I know what you
Hello.
mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. You want to
I know what you mean.
you want to interrupt me again? No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
sorry. I was
No, just
getting
kidding.
into it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. I'm your host Steven, and with me, as always, is my humble co-host Christopher.
Great to be here with you, Steven. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. We recently just saw a film, a movie, if you will, directed by one Matthew Vaughn, as made famous from his mediocre to middling movies like the Kingsman series and others that I can't think of. The movie we just saw was Argylle, featuring hit names like Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, Samuel J. Rockwell, Samuel L. Jackson, Bryce Dallas Howard, and anyone else I'm missing there? That's pretty much it.
Um, did you say John Cena?
Oh, I forgot John Cena was in there.
Did you
Cue.
say Mrs. McAllister or whatever her name
Ah,
is?
yep, Kevin's mom from Home Alone. I do not know her actual name. She'll always be just Kevin's mom.
Kevin's mom, yeah.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna give you a quick little rundown of the movie. No spoilers in this first section. What we thought of it, and then we'll kind of go into spoilers, and we'll mark that later. Uh, so just give you a quick little rundown of this synopsis movie of the movie here. Bryce Dallas Howard plays an author and who is a writer of spy novels, and she writes this book series called Argylle, and it's centered around all these spies and espionage and all that garbage. And somehow they're based on real espionage, real spies, and real covert operations in the world. There's bad people who want to be after her because they think that she has like this power to predict the future based on her writing abilities and whatnot. So there's bad people after her, and Sam Rockwell comes to save her, and all kinds of hijinks and shenanigans ensue. So with that being said, Chris, what did you think of the film? No spoilers.
It's got Matthew Vaughn just splooshed on it. It's rubbed in there, seasoned, pat down dry, and it's got a great cast. And if you know anything about me, I love me some Samuel J. Rockwell.
I am right there with you.
He's probably my favorite actor. Not a huge fan of Bryce Dallas Howard. I honestly can't really think of any movie that I loved her in per se. But then you got, star-studded. I think that's always a bonus. It's an action comedy, which I typically enjoy. But on the negatives is it's not super funny and it's not very good at action. Like if you compare it to Kingsman, the action's not as good and it's not as funny.
Yeah, I definitely, if we're comparing it to his other work like Kingsman, I think that's his top tier. Kingsman was great, it's funny, had really good action. If we're talking church sequence, nothing compares to that.
Great
I don't
scene.
think he's done anything as close to that sequence in terms of action. Nothing in this action comes close to that. It's hard to put a rating on this one because I had a good time. My wife actually really loved this movie because it had your boy Henry in it, which I'm never adverse to seeing his face on the big screen. But it was slightly middling, maybe just a little bit above middling for me, just because it was a lot longer than I had anticipated. And there are some things in there, we'll get into spoiler territory later, but that I didn't really fully connect with. But yeah, I would say if we're just putting on Matthew Vaughn movies, below Kingsman, above, actually, is it above any of his other movies?
I don't think it's not better. I don't think it's probably his worst movie I've seen. Honestly, I might put Stardust. It's kind of a Stardust with me, where
Yeah.
not terrible.
Not terrible, but just like not great.
Yeah, if you were asking me, should you watch it in theaters?
Probably
No.
not. No, yeah.
Friday night, got nothing to watch. It's on Netflix. Hey,
Sure.
pop a cold one, throw it on. Who am I to stop you?
Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't pay money for this. I'm glad I didn't. So shout out to those suckers who had to pay for it. Looking at you, Chris. No, just kidding.
Yeah, that was me.
No,
But
but
I'd say I agree with you where the movie is let's see, at 139 minutes, which is according to my math in the real world here, that's about 2 hours and 20 minutes.
mm-hmm.
Which honestly you probably could have cut 30 to 45 minutes and it would have been better in my opinion.
Mhm.
If you know another thing about me is I like a nice clean hour 30 movie. No
Mhm.
more, no less, just straight to the point. And in a movie like this, you don't really need
You don't
that
need
much
that much,
plot.
yeah.
Give me that more action, give me more of that comedy. So
Yeah, if they would have focused more on the comedy and action as opposed to, and this is baffling to some, but like they kind of over explain some of the story elements where I'm like, all right, it's dragging a little bit for me, you know. Um, so yeah, I would actually put Stardust a little bit above this one because of that.
I think I would as well.
All right. Well, with that being said, spoiler alert coming in here. We're going to talk about the bad things that maybe go into detail about what we didn't really like about it, and then we're going to talk about the good things from it. So,
Going off of the longer runtime than needed,
mhm,
one of my bad here is just the constant cuts to Henry Cavill from Sam Rockwell to every time she blinks, it goes back and forth.
mhm.
And after like, a minute, we get it. But they probably,
Yeah.
what, 15 minutes of the movie of just this thing, like throughout the whole movie of switching back and forth. It was
Well,
making me
listen,
sick.
you pay for Henry, you gotta use him wisely, you know? He's an
Yeah.
expensive man now, so I understand where they came from, but no, I totally agree with you. I was like, "Alright, I get it," you know? Then I have to keep doing that. It was kind of a little annoying. Going off with that, do you wanna explain the twist?
Yes. So
The Shyamalan-like twist here?
yeah, let's explain the Shyamalan twist. So you got Dallas Howard, Bryce
Bryce,
Dallas
yeah.
Howard.
Mhm,
She plays Ellie Conway, I
mhm.
believe her name is. And yeah, you think she's just some kind of dweeb, little writer, kind of a, anxiety, gotta all that type of stuff. But you go on, and the first twist is she's being chased by these evil corporation. I forget what they're called.
The
Corporation, what
Division or
division? I think,
something? Yeah.
yeah, division. And Sam Rockwell's character, who is Aiden, I think, or something. I can't remember.
That
Sam
sounds right.
Rockwell.
We'll say that.
Um, First twist is you think he's a good guy, and she overhears him on the phone, and he's saying, "We gotta kill this, or we gotta, I'm done with her." And then
Mhm,
she's like, "Oh man, he's actually a bad guy."
mhm.
First twist, and then she calls, her mother,
Kevin McAllister's mom.
Kevin's mom, as you do, and she's like, "Hey, I'm on. I can't. I don't have a secure line here. I'm on a payphone, but go to this hotel that we went to." And they're about to say the name. She's like, "No, no, don't don't say it out loud, or else they'll know where we're going." And then they meet at some hotel in London. Um, but I guess going off of that, like, wouldn't just a little sidebar here. Sorry if this is. Tell me if I shouldn't sidebar too much, but if the whole point is not to have people eavesdropping, knowing where you're going, but you're telling, like, they're gonna know just to follow your parents there, right? Like,
Yeah,
it
that's what I
kind
was
of
thinking, yeah.
seems kind of counterintuitive. But
Yeah.
another twist is parents show up at this hotel, and the main bad guy, you got a Spider-Man Homecoming situation
Mm,
where you open the door, Bryan Cranston, who the
he's
first
the
hour
division
of the
boss.
movie you know him as the main division boss, and you're like, oh man, we got a Darth Vader, I'm your father situation. And
Yeah, it turns out he was her dad the whole time. So that was a pretty big
yeah,
twist, I thought.
that
Um,
was that was people in the theater were like, what the, oh my.
Jaws dropped in my
Yeah,
theater.
there was
I
actually, guess how many people were in this whole theater? There's probably about 80 seats. Guess how many were there?
10?
There was three people, two of which I went with, and some random guy.
Oh,
That
man.
was it. And this was Thursday. This was the only showing on the opening night.
Mm. No, I'll give it that, like, that twist actually worked, because I didn't see it coming. Seeing, you build up to this the whole movie, the first third or so, you see Bryan Cranston as this big bad. He's doing his best Lex Luthor audition tape here, trying to be intimidating and everything. It didn't work at all for me just because I see him as Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, and I'll
Oh
always
yeah.
see him as Hal. But the twist was good because when he opened that door, I didn't see it happening. But to piggyback off that, there's a second twist that happens, and you Sam Rockwell busts down the door, and he's got Bryan Cranston at gunpoint, and Bryce Dallas Howard's freaking out, and Kevin McAllister's mom's freaking out, and then Kevin McAllister's mom pulls a gun on Bryce Dallas Howard. Second twist, she's in on it too, and that one didn't really work for me.
And she had a British accent. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, another layer that didn't work for me. Yeah, no, I thought it was like I was like, okay, is this supposed to be funny? Like, is she actually part of it? And it just wasn't very good. And then along with that, from there, it kind of like meanders for a good 40 minutes because you have to go through this huge long exposition dump and explain that Ellie Conway, Bryce Dallas Howard's character, is actually the secret agent. Her name is Ryan Kyle or Rachel Kyle. And so her name is Agent R. Kyle. Funny little, play on words there. And so what's happened here is she got in an accident. Bryan Cranston and Kevin McAllister's mom brainwashed her into believing that she's just this lowly, anxiety ridden writer to get her secrets out of her subconscious to write these books about Agent Argylle. And so it's this whole big thing. And it was way too much exposition. I thought it was a little clever, but like, I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, you don't need to keep explaining it to me. What do you think about that?
Well, they're hinting at it leading up to it because, as I complained earlier, they do the constant, like, she sees Sam Rockwell and then she sees Henry Cavill, but then it starts shifting where she's seeing Henry Cavill like as herself, and it's kind of
Hmm.
hinting like, oh, she's actually Argo. Like, it's kind of hinting there.
Yeah.
Not that it's like 100% like, this is gonna happen, but like
Hmm.
by then that Sam Rockwell is John Cena's character. Like, that was
Yeah.
pretty quick to piece together.
Hmm.
And but yeah, I thought it was a unique twist that, oh, she's actually this agent, but I think it's like once they say it, like, you get it. You don't need
Yeah.
to do a whole, however 40 minutes going up through all this stuff.
Hmm.
But I did like that. I like those twists.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. The movie was kind of a lull until the twists, in my
Hmm.
opinions, because, like, true, there's action, and like on paper it should be somewhat like exciting, entertaining, but for like
It
the
not
first
always is.
hour I was kind of just like, when's something gonna like happen here,
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
I want comedy, more action. So that's kind of where it picks up, probably what, second half of the movie, when you get all these twists here.
Yeah. So piggybacking off of that, the action, I'm gonna put that under the bad category, just because, seeing Matthew Vaughn, I know he can do better with Kingsman series. That's like apex of action sequences. It's a lot to ask of a man to recreate something like that, but I was hoping for something a little bit more here. There's an action sequence on the train with Sam Rockwell. I think it was pretty good, pretty well choreographed and everything. That one was fine. But as it goes along, the action gets kind of worse and worse. Example one, the ice skating bit on the oil, that just did not
Oh.
work for me. I was like counting down the minutes. I was like, all right, I've suspended my disbelief long enough, good sir. Like, let's move this along. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it felt like that was trying to be their church scene,
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, this is gonna be crazy, like, because as far as action goes, it could work, but it just was kind of weird. Like, oh, skating on oil,
They
slicing them
specifically
with
say
whatever.
they're like because they're in a shootout in this oil rig, and then they're shooting all this oil and it goes all over the place. And they're like, you can't shoot, otherwise we'll all go up in flames. And so she puts knives down on the ground and stomps on them with her combat boots and starts skating around. And there's sparks flying everywhere. I was like, hold on, you told me, you set this logic up that if there's sparks, everything will go up in flames. And I'm looking at sparks right now. So you can't sit there and tell me that this isn't going to go up in flames. So it's like,
That's that's what I was thinking the same thing. And um, after they're kind of losing this fight, and then Bryan Cranston's like, "All right, use the guns. I don't care." Where like
mm-hmm,
later on you realize they're all on a ship,
mm-hmm,
and it was like pretty clear if the oil blows, like if it sparks, the whole thing's gonna explode,
yeah,
which means Bryan Cranston and them are all gonna die.
mm-hmm,
Which it feels like even if you're losing a fight, it still wouldn't make sense to possibly just kill everything here, that you've been working for.
yeah.
And then she ends up just picking a gun and shooting everyone at the end anyways. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
it
thought
just
that was kind of
I thought they kind of had like two little finales. That one, and then the one before it was they had like their Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard are fighting their way with smoke and smoke bombs and everything. That was a little creative. I liked it. It looked kind of horrible at times, but it went on a little too long. And I think that was one of my problems with this. Like certain things, I'm like, I don't think like the audience isn't as stupid as whoever made this thinks, because like they do certain things where I'm like, all right, we get it. So that was a little frustrating, but
well. Another twist we kind of forgot to mention is that Sam Rockwell's actually in in Agent Argylle, Bryce Howard here.
mm,
They were actually lovers.
canoodling, yes, yes,
They'd
yes, yes.
been in love and been an item, if you will.
Mhm,
And that kind of shows their they come out of this room throwing all this smoke, and I I I could see, like, as I'm watching, I was thinking I could see a lot of people like hating this, and I'm like
mhm.
probably Steven here, but I enjoy. I thought it was kind of I like the silliness of it,
Mhm.
but as far as like action goes, it's not really great action because you can't really see anything. You
Yeah.
kind of just see silhouettes, but it was kind of fun, doing the dance
I like
lips
I
and all
liked it
that.
for the first I liked it for, like, the first 5 minutes, but then it went on for another
Yeah,
7 minutes, and I
I
was like,
agree with you there.
"Okay, alright." I have another note here. I never thought for 1 second that they had a real cat on set.
Yeah.
Some of the worst cat CGI, and I even wrote, "Meet the Fockers did it, why can't you?" So it's like, you why spend all that money on one of the worst CGI cats I've ever seen in my life? But yeah, that was very distracting for me. So at times, some of the CG was like, and I don't want to dog on any CGI artists. Corridor Crew taught me that, there's good people out there. It's just the studio's mandates.
hmm
But that one, yeah, some of those scenes, I was just like, oof, ugh, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I have the budget here. Do you know how? Do you want to take a guess at how much the budget was for this?
I'll guess the budget. Is it over 200? Two
It's
hundo
it,
mil?
it's exactly 200.
Yippee! And
Which
how much has it made back? Well, I guess it's
well,
still early days.
I
Never
mean,
mind.
it's 1.7, but it is, as we're recording, it's a
Yeah.
Friday night, so
Do you think
I,
it'll
d-
make its money back?
um if it's anything like my theater, no. They made like $40. But I don't I'm guessing maybe they'll get to 200, but like I don't think they're gonna, because what you're supposed to double up and then
Yeah,
you
and
get a
then some.
profit after that.
Hmm. Well,
I don't think it's gonna make a profit.
going on with the future of this, they're trying to make it a franchise because at the end, spoiler alert, we're already in spoiler territory, but at the end they set up a sequel. From the point where Bryce Dallas Howard is at her little press conference to the post credit scene, I had no idea what was going on. So maybe you could shed some light on there, because what happens is she's in the press conference of her new book, and then she's taking questions, and the very last question is, are the man, the myth, the legend himself, Henry Cavill, not the actor, I'm sure it's just a lookalike, but Henry
Not the
Cavill pops up,
uh
and he said, "Do you have any questions for me?" And she kind of freaks out because that's who Argyle is kind of like based on in her books. So I had no idea what was happening there. What was your interpretation?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Well, Yeah, it doesn't make sense because, yeah, she's looking at Henry Cavill, but he's got like different hair,
He's
but
got
it's
a
him.
rat mullet. Yeah.
But it's like this, same guy that she sees in the mirror when she's seeing things.
Hmm.
And then it cuts to the post credit where it shows them at some bar that's called Kingsman.
Presumably young Henry Cavill at a
Yeah,
bar called Kingsman. And I was like, is
he
this part of
says
the Kingsman?
his name's something Argylle,
Yeah.
and it's got the Kingsman thing. And I was trying to it's been years since I've seen Kingsman, but he he's like, oh, I gotta order some drink or whatever, and then he gives him some box and he opens it up, and it's, I think it
What
will,
was it?
I'm
A
trying,
gun?
a gun or something.
The gun. Yeah.
Which I'm trying to, like, I feel like that was something that happened in Kingsman because I remember them being like, before he gets into the whole Kingsman thing, he's at doing some fight thing at a
Yeah.
bar. Isn't that a thing?
I think I
So
don't. It's been a
I
long
think it's
time. Yeah.
hinting that it's the same universe as Kingsman, and that it's
Which is
hinting that
weird. Yeah.
Argyle was actually a real guy because it says 20 years earlier, and it's a younger looking Henry. I guess it's
Who?
supposed to be Henry
Yeah.
Cavill,
They did a bad job at
but
casting
it
that.
looks
Yeah.
nothing like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to put my brain around how, like, maybe somewhere in her past, because did we talk about how she lost her memory and got hypnotized, or we kind of glance over
We
that
kind of
part?
glanced over it, but
Yeah.
yeah, the small,
So I
minute
guess another
detail.
spoiler is they pull a Captain America Winter Soldier on her,
Hmm.
where she's in like a coma. The founded, what was it? What did we say their names? The Foundation. What were the main bad guys? Corporation called Division.
The Division.
You got the main guy and McAllister, Miss McAllister, Kevin's mom. She's like some hypnotist, psychologist, shrink, and they do some hypnotism and make her have these like fake memories where they make her believe that they're her parents. That's why she
Mm.
thinks they're her parents. But so maybe somewhere in that repressed memory, is maybe she actually did something with this
Hmm.
Argyle guy. Maybe it's her brother or
Yeah.
something, or could be like a brother. Maybe it's a prestige situation where she's got a twin that nobody knows about. They look exactly alike, except her twin is Henry Cavill, and that's a big
Yeah.
twist. I don't know, but um, that's how, like, when she's writing her books, in case you didn't figure that out, she's writing what actually happened, and
Hmm.
she's the main character,
Yeah.
Argo. But yeah, that was kind of like, that's all. That's what I can think
I don't.
of.
I didn't
But
even give it more than 5 minutes thought because I was like, I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there somewhere will explain it to me. But
yeah, I'll do a better job than us. But yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, this, if this is the Kingsman universe, Samuel Jackson, because in Kingsman he's the villain of the first one, and he's got
hmm,
like the lisp, and
yeah.
he got his hat or whatever. Like, is that supposed to be the same
Yeah.
character? If so, he just goes
Well, no,
bad
because
and
he. Spoiler alert for that. I think
does.
doesn't he die at the end of that one?
Yeah, that's
So
what I
yeah,
thought.
it just doesn't make any sense. It seems like a um what's that movie that came out with Matthew, oh, James McAvoy, Glass and Splinter and all them, where it's like very tacked on. Or like,
Yeah,
well, might as well. It's the same
Split.
director, kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't throw Bruce Willis in the end doing
Yeah.
something there. And
Well,
yeah, does Matthew Vaughn make a cameo like M Night?
maybe,
He's probably
maybe.
in there
Yeah.
somewhere, right?
Well, I want to talk about some of the good things that came out of this movie.
Can I say one more
Sure,
bad? I
sure.
just got one more, if I may. So, a main point of the plot, you got the romance element of it. Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dow,
Hmm.
Ellie Conway,
BDH. Hmm.
Argyle, they're an item. But he doesn't try and get her or unhypnotize her, and she's been hypnotized for
Hmm.
5 years. And he waits until the beginning of the movie because she's about to finish the book and have the lost information that they've been waiting
Yeah.
for all this time. And once she writes that, they're gonna kill her. So he waits, and then he's like, "All right, I'll do this." But wouldn't it like I don't? He didn't need to wait 5 years to get her, right? Like
I
I don't know why. If it was a romantic
think he
person,
would
I
have done it
would.
sooner.
If you're gonna get her anyways, you might as
Yeah.
well do it
He was devoted to the
ASAP.
mission first, I guess. I don't know.
But what was his mission? Like, what was he
Um,
been doing
you know
here?
what? As writer, producer, director of this movie, I don't have that answer in front of me.
And then there's also their other co-worker, if you will. She supposedly dies in the beginning, but she's not actually dead, and she
Oh
shows
yeah,
up
that
at
was
the
very
end to
tacked
save
on.
him. Uh, like she, like, what's she doing
Hmm.
this whole time? And she actually sends an email to Ellie Conway, like, "Hey, here's an idea for the next book of how I live."
Hmm.
Which, if you were dead and you people thought you were dead and you want to keep that a secret, you probably shouldn't email that to someone writing a
Yeah,
book that
because
everyone's
any
reading here.
Poindexter with any nerd in eighth grade can figure out your IP address and just be like, oh, that's that person. So there we go, we got her.
That yeah. But anyways, enough with the negatives. Let's focus on
Yeah.
the
Well,
positives here.
there's been a lot of talk about bait and switches lately in media. You got your bait and switch from things like The Mandalorian season 3, where you thought it was about Mando, but then it's also mostly about Bo-Katan. You got the bait and switch from Indiana Jones, where you think you're getting Indiana Jones, but you're actually getting Phoebe Waller-Bridge. This one, however, I completely accept the bait and switch, and I revel in it because I went in there thinking Henry Cavill was going to be the main man. My wife went in there thinking Henry was going to be the main man, and I was pleasantly surprised and just welcomed the fact that Sam Rockwell had got to be the leading lead, and just loved it. Was here for it because I love Sam Rockwell. He really got to chew up some scenery, and anytime you get to see Sam Rockwell dance is a good time. So, yeah, those that one was really good. I liked their chemistry, um, and that's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, I also like I'm not a huge Henry Cavill. Nothing against him. I think he's fine, but he's not like an actor that's gonna draw me to watch
Sure.
it like my boy Samuel is.
Yeah.
So I was happy, but I could see like if I were just to take a blind guess, I would say probably 75% of the people watching are expecting Henry and probably want Henry and are
Hmm.
probably going to be pretty pissed that he's in it for like what 20 minutes of a 2.5 hour movie.
Well, that's how you felt about Zendaya in Dune 1, so
That's
we all have our
exactly
little
how I.
concessions,
That's
yeah.
my bait and switch here. Yeah, and yeah, it's true. Like it has a bunch of stars, but
They're
like
not always
John
present.
Cena, another star, he's in it what 10 minutes
Glorified
total,
cameo, yeah.
and um, but yeah, I agree. I was happy Sam Rockwell was the main lad here.
He needs to be in more things, in my opinion.
I agree. There
Um,
was another the main henchman man. Uh, couldn't tell you his name, but did he remind you of a certain like when he first popped up on the screen? I was like, is that Nick Miller? It looked like a jacked Nick Miller. It's kind of like
the one who was at the book signing, that
uh
that one, or what are you talking about?
in the I don't remember. He was on the train. He's the main villain guy.
Oh, what
They
I
show him.
think,
He's
yeah,
got
yeah,
like
yeah.
that Nick nose where it's like he's got that Owen Wilson, Nick Miller. Something happened to that nose. It was broken or something
uh,
as a
yeah.
kid, but he
No, I don't
looked
know. I'd
like
have to
a
look back at that.
handsome. Like if what was that last Nick Miller movie we watched?
Self reliance.
It looked Self Reliance is like the bad timeline of Nick, where he's down on his luck. Living with the homeless. So this is like the you know something he wins the lottery.
This is if when he stays married to Jess. That's
Stays
what
married
happens
to
to him.
Jess.
Yeah. I got a question for you. Do you want to see more out of this franchise? Do you want to see a sequel?
Not particularly.
Yeah, because it's set up for that.
I still haven't seen the third
Neither have I,
Kingsman.
honestly.
Did
I
you
saw the
watch all
first.
of them?
Well, I saw the first one, and then I put the second one on the background, and then the third one I just didn't
Yeah,
at all.
I like the
So
first two, but never got around to the third. So maybe it's
yeah.
good, uh, but yeah, I'm not really excited for. I
Do you know if this is based on like a book or anything?
I couldn't tell you, my friend. As far as I know,
Because if it's
not.
if it's based on like nothing, oh, it's based on a book written supposedly. Oh, how meta of us! Look at this, Matthew Vaughn's arg. What?
How meta of us.
It says Matthew Vaughn's Argylle stars Bryce Dallas Howard as an author named Ellie Conway. The film is based on a book written by a supposedly real life author named Ellie Conway. Vaughn recently shut down the theory that Taylor Swift is the author.
What?
Um, that's just what
What?
it says. I don't know.
Oh,
Not that the two are related.
not the two. You know what's kind of BS here is in the beginning, it's like it's the producer is an Apple original film. Why isn't it released directly to Apple TV? What is this?
Yeah, that's
And then they
bullcrap. I could
kept,
have watched it at
do you
home.
see all those Apple product placements they kept throwing out there? Right in her
I
book on
didn't
her
actually. Oh, her
Apple
MacBook.
computer or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Now that you mention it, yeah.
I'm sure there was some Apple on the counter. They're money sucking leechers, but they won't put it on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah. No, I think if this was like just a wholly original story, I would be more in favor of it. But I could take it or leave it. If there's another one, I probably won't see it. So that should tell you where I stand with it.
Yeah, definitely not in theater. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you listen this far, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. Leave a review for us here on Spotify, and also check out our YouTube channel where we review other movies and have some fun over there. Be sure to like and subscribe. And anything else, Chris?
Thanks for listening this far. Let us know if there's any movies you want us to review next. Thank you.
Yep. Over and out.